Farmers in the field work under intense pressure, especially during the harvesting season. This is a punishing environment, yet their equipment must not fail at such a critical time. Wheel end bearings in the front and rear axles need to withstand heavy loads and dusty or dirty conditions for long periods of time. SKF's Mud 11 multi-lib cassette seal keeps wheel end applications running smoothly and efficiently. It repels dust, dirt, and mud and stops lubricant leaking into the environment. The special design improves sealing performance and prevents downtime. Several innovative features help the Mud 11 to raise performance and reliability. Its outside diameter is half metal, half rubber. This improves static sealing, lowers heat dissipation, and keeps lubricant within the housing. Because the seal has its own counterface, there is no need for shaft machining. A rubber bonded sleeve makes installation easier and protects the sealing lips from damage during transportation, handling, and installation. All SKF mud block cassette seals are designed with an integrated wear sleeve and a rubber inside diameter. A spring-loaded main sealing lip maintains lubrication and a strong seal, regardless of rotation direction. To avoid dry running, all sealing lips are pre-greased. Using finite element analysis, SKF's engineers can design an optimal seal. Lip configuration can be modified, for instance. Sealing lips can also be made from a variety of materials to suit specific applications. The Mud 11 cassette seal is easily mounted into position. This makes it simple to retrofit or to replace an existing seal. Standard sealing lips are made of a special grade of nitrile rubber that reduces wear and aging and extends service life. Alternative materials such as FKM and HNBR can be used for more demanding applications. Here, we see that the Mud 11 in blue has 20% less friction than competitive seals. It also has a lower starting torque. In tests, Mud 11 resisted contamination ingress for more than 4,000 hours. That's around 50% longer than competitor products. Innovative design and advanced materials have given the Mud 11 an extended service life and superior performance. It reduces unplanned downtime and the need for maintenance in many types of heavy-duty applications. Mud 11 makes machinery more productive and operations more profitable. Learn more about how to make a difference with SKF Cassette Seals Mud 11. Visit www.skf.com/Mud11.
My name is Thomas Meyer and I'm responsible for SKF Seals marketing. So I'm the global marketing manager for SKF Seals, and in that role I'm the co-host, so to say. Today I will support Elin during the session, and I also will run the Q&A session afterwards to guide our presenters and you through all the questions and answers. And as already mentioned by Elin, please don't hesitate to ask your questions right away during the presentations so we can refer to them afterwards verbally. So I will read them loudly to have it available again, and then our main presenters and subject matter experts can refer to it. Said that, I will hand over to our presenters, Robert Amen and Vinay Joyappa. For the afternoon session, we have those two colleagues here in our session. Thanks a lot.
Hi, everybody. As a good afternoon, good morning, wherever you might be. My name is Robert Amen, as it says there on the sheet. My position is a Global Tractor Portfolio Manager. And I am here to talk about a little bit of the applications and the breadth of the possible applications that you might see with a short presentation. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. My name is Vinay Joyappa. I am the Global Product Manager at SKF Seals, and today I will be your main presenter. And I hope that you will take this opportunity to learn about our new offer. Thank you and looking forward.
I think, Yelena, I think it's my presentation now, so I will jump to share my screen if you are okay.
You're good to go.
Now? Okay.
Yes, you're good to go.
Very good. Okay, everyone, as I said before, we were a team. There was an earlier presentation this morning where Christian Mertens took the opportunity to present at what would have been 2 a.m. my time. So I appreciate Christian for doing that. I'm taking the afternoon, so he can be with his family. Anyways, we'll talk about a couple of applications you've seen already. The primary application through the video. Being the tractor wheel application. And so we'll talk briefly about that, but then we'll go into really what we consider to be some other opportunities for you to think about the mud block seal. Just as a rehash, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here because the actual seal design and product will be explored a lot further by Vinny. But as was already shown, the mud block seal, primary application for wheel bearings. Criteria around the wheel bearing application is obviously heavy contamination, the necessity to retain oil in general, but grease is also a greased application is also possible. And the one specific criteria for a mud block is relatively low speed. So just thinking about that, there are many other applications that fit that condition, of course. The seal honestly doesn't know if it's in a wheel or in some other application. What is critical are those conditions. So we're going to review a couple of other applications where we've had some success. But what this slide says here is that Mud 11 is not just for wheels. And what we mean by that is that think about it as a cassette seal with superior sealing capability, but of course some limitations. The application references from the picture are really just that. They're just ideas. There are many positions inside of each one of these machines that are shown that would have a potential application usage of the Mud 11 seal. Primarily what we're talking about, though, again, is going back into those application conditions being low speed. And the unique thing about there, not necessarily unique, but a good thing about the Mud 11 is that it seals effectively both forward and reverse. It is also proven in rotating and oscillating positions. We will review one of the oscillating positions here on the next slide. Obviously, high contamination, and as already stated, can be used with grease or oil. And one of the other unique things about it is the assembly ability, because it is a cassette seal. It is relatively easy to assemble, and it is not the performance thereof is not specific to some high tolerance or high precision componentry. Application one that I'm going to review with you that's a non-wheel application is in a suspension link for a piece of tracked equipment. It is obviously, when you think about a track for any type of vehicle, you're talking about something that's going to be near the ground, probably encased in mud, dirt, dust, gravel, and even submersion at times. Those are some critical features. I mean, that's the critical design criteria around the Mud 11 is contaminant exclusion. In this case here, it's unique because the seal is actually not rotating. It is oscillating back and forth as the suspension travels up over obstacles or whatever it might be. The seal actually is going back and forth. And in this case, it is actually a greased condition, but validated and in production today in this sort of arrangement. It's a nice little application. The next application we'll review is what is called a power harrow. Again, this is not on a tractor wheel. This is in an attachment, obviously powered and pulled by a tractor. But in this case here, it's a couple of unique features. Number one is the orientation. It is obviously in a vertical shaft as opposed to most wheels run on a horizontal shaft. It is heavy contamination. I think anyone understands what this is, or if you look at the application, you can see it is down near the ground. It is actually kicking the ground up, tilling the ground, so to speak. and it is the primary seal between the contaminant and then the what is generally an oiled gearbox, but it could also be grease up above where the gears are, where the gears and bearings are. It's obviously has the two main functions of keeping the lubricant in the gearbox and the contamination out. And with that, that's concludes the presentation with regards to our application references. I'll now pass over to Vinny, who will go into product details.
So anyway, we have, I think, heard a lot about in the video. I think that completely explains the offer application-wise. Bob has given a good overview of where all it can be used other than the main application it is intended for. And now we go a little bit detail on the product as such and the application and the tests that we have conducted internally, etc. So why we call it the next generation of SKF mud block, the Mud 11. SKF has a series of cassette seals starting from Mud 1 up to Mud 10. And they are used in a variety of applications, customized for some customers, some are standard range. And I think most of you are aware that one of the mud blocks is also used in the SKF Agri Hub, which is sold as a hub unit out in the market, mainly for tillage applications. So why this offer? I think this particular slide speaks more than 1,000 words. This is very apt for this presentation of why we have put this. Maximum efficiency under extreme operating conditions is crucial for any agriculture machinery. The equipment has to function reliably in a very harsh environment because any downtime or breakdown, especially during the sowing or harvesting, will lead to the wheel and bearing failure and thus reduces the productivity for the farmers. You can imagine that we cannot have any leakage in this application because either in the harvesting or in the sowing season, mainly because the leakage of oil can pollute your harvest or it can contaminate the soil. So all in all, it is not good for the environment at all, and we have to completely eliminate this kind of leakage. And that's why the SKF Cassette Seal or the Mud 11 is like a gold standard for protecting the wheel and bearings and thus increasing the reliability of the equipment or adding on to the total reliability of the tractor. Some product information. The offer that we have or launched is a standard range from a 25 millimeter shaft up to a 250 millimeter shaft. And the applications mainly is the tractor wheel end. This seal is designed keeping in mind the wheel end of a tractor. And yes, as Bob said, we can use it in other applications like a construction vehicle, maybe a small skid steer or a small wheel loader having similar parameters in terms of application, or a forklift, or even a forestry vehicle, and even planetary gearbox or drives that we have. The selection criteria is always whenever there is a heavy contamination, when you need to seal oil as well as grease here. I mean, this design, what you see here is mainly intended for oil, but it can also seal grease in the same way. And of course, very low speed, not high speeds, and we'll touch upon that fact later on in the presentation. What you see on the left-hand side here is a section of the wheel end, and the green color, you see a seal here, which is actually protecting the taper roller wheel bearing. The application conditions, long and intensive work periods. You can imagine that during harvesting or sowing season, the tractor is working more than 12 to 14 hours a day continuous. There is non-stop because most of these equipments are rented. And I think you pay quite around 200 euros per hour on renting. So you do not want to waste even few minutes of your time and lose productivity. That's why it is working continuously for 12 to 14 hours during season. And you can imagine the environment in which it works, as you see in the picture here. And it's exposed to very harsh contamination. So any failed seal will allow the contamination ingress into the bearing and destroy the bearing. That means the wheel and bearing failures will finally reduce your productivity, will increase your maintenance costs, etc. And when it comes to the original equipment manufacturers, it means warranty claims or even damaged reputation. We speak a little bit here on the Mud 11 design as such, and what features are there in this particular design. We see a half metal, half rubber on the outer diameter here. The intention of this is that the metal will do the retention and the rubber will do the sealing. That means it has got a good press fit as well as good sealing. When we come to the inner diameter, we have a full rubber on the inner diameter. That is because we want to keep the press fit force a little lesser so that once it is assembled in the housing, when we push the shaft inside, the seal doesn't move. As well as it provides a good sealing because of the full rubber. The main lip, that is a spring-loaded garter lip, is specially designed, let's say SKF design for optimized sealing. It protects basically the oil flowing out, so it's mainly an oil seal, and it is a spring-loaded seal. Sorry. Then we have the multiple lips here that you see, 4 multiple lips. That is basically to keep the contamination outside as a barrier against the contamination to protect not just the oil inside, but also from the main lip being damaged and the oil finally leaking. We see here a lump of rubber. We call it the bumper. That is actually a very important feature here because that keeps the relative distance between the seal and the sleeve so that all the axial lips and the radial lips are in the right position with the right interference. We have a curl that is basically intended to keep the seal as a cassette unit, as one unit, so that whenever it's transported or being handled by the application engineers or customers, it's not damaged, and we basically protect the lips and the surfaces, counter surfaces of the lips. Coming to the sleeve, we have a counter surface here and we can call it as a shaft. So we actually provide the shaft as well as the seal here in one unit, which means you do not have to take care of having a very fine turned or machine shaft to get the right RA value. You can use the same value of the roughness that you have in the housing up to 3.2 RA to also for the shaft, and that actually helps you because if you are directly running any shaft seal directly on the shaft, you have a groove here, and then probably you have to fit a speedy sleeve or machine the shaft. So in these applications, once the seal has been damaged or the seal has finished its life, you can just remove the seal and plug in a new seal. And then finally, we have a specially formulated NBR or a nitrile rubber that is used in this seal, and that actually helps to reduce the wear and aging, and it is compatible with most of the synthetic oils in the market. However good a seal design is, it's as good as how good is the rubber. So it's very important that we have good properties of the rubber to make the seal design that we have work well. So the benefits of this to the end user, increased productivity because you have a reliable seal that gives you less maintenance and reduces your operating costs. So highly reliable performance. Retrofit to existing envelopes. This means that if you're already using a cassette seal or even a shaft seal, which is not a cassette, you can replace the SKF cassette seal into the same envelope without any modification. Of course, it is easier and quicker to assemble because it's a cassette unit and you just have to plug it in 2 steps. And you can also do a blind assembly because most of the time in the wheel and when you're assembling the seal, you really don't see the seal as the shaft is pushed inside, or even some cases when you push the seal into the housing. Under these circumstances, a cassette seal is very safe to easily assemble. Benefits for the original equipment manufacturers: increased service life means reduced warranty or warranty costs. And a reliable seal partner. I mean, we are not having just one seal. We are having a range of seals that fit in most of your applications. and we will provide a full engineering support. That means right from the selection of the seal for the particular application, for validation, analysis, or tooling, assembly tooling, we give you complete engineering support, and we have our local representatives in most of the countries who will support you on this. The benefits for our distributors. Distributors, we have a cross-reference to competitor seals. We also have a OEM reference that we can provide you. The items are in stock. So we have regional stocks in the 3 regions. Right now we have it in Europe, but we will also have it in US and Asia. We have a gross price list, and this is mainly for our European customers. Information package for your web shop. So we have a complete product package information. If at all you would like to put an SKF Mud 11 offer into your website to your customers, we can provide you all the information that are needed for that. Packaging, yes, we have a kind of double packaging, which means the seal is actually put in a blister pack and then in a collective box and then shipped to the distributors. If you want to learn more, we have the SKF Distributor College where we offer trainings as you request, and then we can give you more detailed information on specific applications. Testing capabilities, yes, we have a lot of testing capabilities worldwide, but here we are talking about the mud block testing capabilities that we have. It's mainly in US and in Italy. We do the following test. One is the Mudslide Test, which is, let's say, the main test for a mud block performance validation. And then the hot oil durability test, which is basically running the tractor at high speeds. So maybe moving from one farm to another or on the road. Frictional torque test we do for every seal. Oil and grease compatibility test. So whenever we have a customer who wants to use a mud block seal, we always make sure we know the kind of oil that they are using and to understand whether we have to run a compatibility test. And if yes, we do run compatibility test to check if the rubber that we use on the mud block is compatible with your oil. Some details of how we run the mud and slurry test. You see here is a rig, which we have oil inside the drum here. And on the other side or the external side, we have a small container, which is half filled with the mud and slurry. So a specification of mud mixed with water and made into a slurry. And here is a schematic. And this is the test we run. There are different customers who run at different tests, different speeds. Some customers at 50 RPM, some at 75, some at 100. So we have taken 100 as a standard for our test because that also accelerates the failure, puts the seal into severity. Both clockwise and counterclockwise we run during the test. We have standard dynamic runout and STBM that we apply into this machine. And oil, most of the oil is a standard SA90, or sometimes if the customer gives us a specific oil, we do on that. Fluid is a full, and temperature, if it is an NBR, we keep it at 70 degrees. If it is FKM, we keep it at more than 100 degrees. Test duration is testing until failure. So how do we measure failure? So we have in the laboratory where we do an analysis, we take samples once in 2-3 days to the lab to check if in the container, let's say slurry sample, if we have oil or vice versa. The slurry is basically calcium chloride mixed with fertilizer and a clay sand. And we have a test cycle that is 9 times clockwise and 1 time counterclockwise. We have selected all these kind of test criteria, keeping in mind the application of the tractor in reality. So try to come to as much realistic approach as possible. The Mudslide test that we have conducted, and we have done a series of tests for more than 5-6 years and on different sizes. And we have seen that each and every test, the SKF Mud 11 seals has outperformed our competitor seals. And based on the test results, we have plotted the data, and you see that we have up to 40 to 50% increased service life in our rig tests. When it comes to the hot oil durability test, we run at a higher RPM. We go up to 200 in terms of RPM and then do a test, and there is no contamination or a slurry in this kind of test. This is basically to validate the performance of the seal at slightly higher speeds, considering the tractor will also move on the road at little higher speeds up to 50-60 kilometers per hour. And here also we have seen that our seals have crossed more than 5,000 hours when it is just running without any contamination, and an increase of 40 to 50% compared to the competitor seals. We also did a friction test, and this is the initial torque test as soon as the seal is new. And when we have, let's say, an assembly criteria where you have certain requirements of a friction, and that's what we have tested here. So it's the initial torque, and there we have a 20% reduction in the starting friction of the mud block seal. The assembly procedure, it's a two-step assembly. The first step is to assemble the seal into the housing, and we use a tool here. And you can see the design of the tool is just covering the sleeve part. It is not going up to the full seal. And then you push the seal in, and the second step is that you push the shaft inside. Usually, if there is space in your application or in your housing, we leave a clearance of 1 millimeter, but it's not mandatory to leave this clearance. In case you have, we can, otherwise we can flush it to the bottom. The surface roughness, both for the shaft and the housing, we have a surface roughness of 1.6 to 3.2. RA value, which is H8. Global support. As I said before, we have application engineers globally located in most of the countries who are knowledgeable with this kind of seal, and they can help you from the seal selection to seal assembly tool design, or if there is any testing to be done, they can coordinate with the testing center and plan for the tests. Or if you have conducted some tests, we can do or run an analysis, post-test analysis, and submit the report to you. So it's a very strong team that can definitely give you all the engineering support you need to assemble or to use a cassette seal. The stock that we have today, you know that we have launched this during the first quarter of this year, and we have here almost 20 sizes that we have on stock. Most of them are in NBR, and we can also make in FKM as the need arises. And these come, as I said before, this comes in for the distributors. It comes in a blister pack and a collective pack, which are then supplied to you. We keep on adding more sizes every year, and I think this year we will add another 10 to 15 sizes to the range, so to cover the complete range. So basically underlining the statement that we want to be a reliable partner for you. That means we can cover the range of sizes that you or your application needs. Marketing material, we have a lot of marketing material on this product line. We have a specific brochure that gives you the details. If you're dealing with agriculture applications, we have an agriculture catalog where we have all the offers for the agriculture along with this seal that we have. We have a specific industrial seals catalog where we have information on this. And as I said before, we have an interchange table that we can provide you if you have to know what is the interchange for a competitor seal or a OEM part number. Of course, we have some movies on YouTube and then some images, posters, exhibits. Presentation, we can make customized presentation however you want, and we have also product presentations that are available for you. Product data package, as I said before, this is basically if you want to incorporate the mud block seal on your website. And this is mainly for the distributors who are big and wants to have their own product page in the web shop, so we can give all these details. Distributor college course, and this is basically the training program that we can offer through this. And then webinar. product tables on skf.com. If you go to skf.com/mud11, and you actually go directly to the Mud11 page where you find all the details, the application details, the product tables. You also, when you click on individual products, you find all the details even to specific to the tool sizes. I mean, the assembly tool is different in sizes for each and every size. So we have all the details incorporated in there to make it very useful for you and also to your end users or your customers.
Thanks to our presenters, to our subject matter experts, Robert Eman in his role as tractor expert, knowing a lot about the agri industry, and also Vinay Joyappa in his role as product manager for the cassette seals assortment, and in that special context for the Mud11 product. So thanks a lot. Thanks again.